All right, so last week I made two videos talking about Georgia's top targets on offense and defense in the 2024 class, talking about where Georgia sits with them. And in today's video, I'm going to take it a little step further, talking about the 2025 class. It is loaded in the state of Georgia. The Dogs have 3 commitments already in that class. And basically, I'm going to be breaking down who the top 10 players are in the state of Georgia for the 2025 class, guys who were sophomores last year in the Peach State, and break down basically where Georgia sits with those players. Now, number one, these are my rankings, right? These are just my rankings. The other sites have it a little different, but in my opinion, this is the top 10. And number one has to be Elijah Griffin, Savannah Christian Prep, elite defensive lineman, 6'4", 270, number one player not only in Georgia but across the country according to the 247 composite rankings. Runs a 5'1" for his size, 35-inch vertical, just an absolute beast, freak of an athlete, a true game wrecker on the defensive line. Had 82 tackles, 30 tackles for loss, and 14 and a half sacks last year as a sophomore. Can play on the edge, can play inside. This is a Georgia-South Carolina battle from what I've gathered. Spoke with him last week, had a big interview story over on DAWGS, so make sure you check that out. But another year, another player from Georgia who is ranked early on as the number one player in the country. And I think Georgia sits in an excellent position for the game-wrecking defensive lineman from Savannah. Number two, Zayden Walker out of Sly County, 6'3", 220, plays both ways down there for his small town school, running back, linebacker. Dude absolutely looks the part physically. Was able to see him in an all-star game after his freshman season. Had an impressive pick 6 in that game at linebacker. That's where Georgia is recruiting him to play. Tough, physical, can run. Dude looks 18 years old already. You look at him and you just tell yourself, okay, this is a guy. This is a 5-star kid who is going to project really well at the next level. So I love everything about him. Big time Georgia target, but they're going to have to fight off teams like Alabama, Florida State, and Auburn, where his cousin Marcavius Bryant played. So big time player from kind of the middle of nowhere in Georgia, but he is a guy who is going to make a lot of plays on Saturday. I have him as the number 2 player in the state. Georgia's in the thick of it, but it's no slam dunk at all that he's going to go to Georgia. They're going to have to fight off some big time programs for him. Number 3, I've got Juan Gaston Jr. This is a class in Georgia loaded with talented offensive linemen. I think he is the best. I like him more than any of the other sites out there who barely have him in the top 10 in the state, 100 player in the country. I think it's crazy. This kid is a 5-star, 6'7", 335. So he is big, he is heavy, but I've never seen an athlete move like that at 330. His dad played basketball at Georgia Tech, probably could have played in the NFL if he went the football route, but I saw him play against Carrollton last year, dominated as a sophomore at left tackle for a big-time Westlake program, and he's a bully. I mean, he's going to eliminate defenders from the play with ease. Raw strength, power, great footwork for his size. He's easy to notice, and he passes the grandmother test. If I brought my grandmother out to see this kid, she's saying, that's the kid we're here to see. I think he's the number 3 player in the state. Again, I'm higher on him than everyone else. I think he's going to be an absolute star. Georgia has offered. They're going to have to keep pushing for him. He doesn't talk much about his recruitment, but he is a big, big deal. One of my favorite players across the country. I think he's a 5-star guy. Number 4, Jonte Gilbert, current Ohio State commitment, 6'1", 175 at Douglas High School in Atlanta. Long, athletic, great ball skills, knows how to hit, a sure tackler. Again, looking at him, he looks the part of an SEC or D1 caliber defensive back, and Ohio State was on him early. They were able to land his commitment. Saw him in February at the Under Armour camp at Carrollton High School, spoke with him. He told me that Georgia continues to push hard for him. He is very interested in Georgia still. There's no doubt about that. So they've got some work to do. I think they're trying to make the flip, but without a doubt, one of the top defenders in the Atlanta area, one of the best defensive backs across the country in that 25 class. Another guy who could push for 5-star status, in my opinion. So I have him at number 4. I think that's a little higher than everyone else has him, but I think he's the real deal. Number 5, Ellis Williams, Georgia commitment, 5-star everywhere you look, 6'7", 235. Coming to Georgia to play tight end from what I'm told, but I like his potential higher as an outside linebacker, pass rusher, edge defender. He's just too long and athletic. He's quick off the ball, can really just break up a play before it happens, really. He gets into the backfield with ease due to his long wingspan and the ability to just explode off the snap. So I like him more on defense, but he is a guy who has the potential to catch a lot of passes due to his size and the ability to catch the ball down the field. So South Georgia kid out of Clinch County, but Charlton County, excuse me. I know a lot of people are going to get mad at that. Charlton County, but he is a big deal already on the commit list for Georgia, and he's a 5-star going else. I have him as the number 5 player in the state. Solid. Number 6, another Georgia commitment, Justice Terry, 6'5", 270, big physical defensive lineman, could play all over. He's versatile, but again, another guy who is just chiseled. I mean, he is a weight room warrior, just full of muscle, a lot of strength, a lot of power, but runs really well for a guy 270. So Georgia was on him early. He went viral after on social media after just taking some pictures of himself in the weight room. The dude's a beast. He's a freak of nature, and the Georgia's got a good one there. They were on him early, were able to land his commitment. He's happy to be a Bulldog, so I have him at number 6 in the state, and he's another guy who could end up as a 5-star prospect in the state. I mean, it's full of guys with 5-star potential, and he is another one on board. Josh Petty, Roswell Fellowship Christian School in Roswell, Georgia. Long, lean offensive tackle, 6'5", 265, 270, looks heavier than that to me, has the frame to continue adding weight and muscle, and that's what you want from your offensive lineman. It's a lot easier to add muscle and add mass and add weight when you get to college than it is to decrease. So I understand why a lot of schools love him, because he has the frame to add more weight, but he is a dominant run blocker. He's a guy who's going to shove guys backwards 20 yards. Again, he's long, athletic, has a very high ceiling, has his best football still way ahead of him, but Georgia offered earlier this spring. A lot of schools have jumped on board. His film is outstanding from last year as a sophomore. Doesn't play against the best competition, but it's easy to see his potential and why the offers have come in. So I have him at number 7. Number 8, Jaden Perlotti, another Georgia commitment. He's at Buford High School, 6'3", 200. Will strike you. He is a hard-hitting outside linebacker, could play inside, but he's a natural in coverage as well. Does a lot of the 7-on-7 tournaments, honing his craft, trying to get better and better, not only as a run-stopping linebacker, but a guy who can, cover in the back end and cover tight ends and make a play on the football when it's in the air. So he can get after the quarterback. He's a secure tackler, especially in the open field. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get the ball carried to the ground, and he can help in coverage as well. So he's a linebacker who can do a little bit of everything. Committed to Georgia, but he is taking a lot of visits. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he decided to open things up down the road. But right now, Georgia has his commitment. I think he feels pretty good about that commitment right now. So he is at number 8. At number 9, Mason Short, another offensive lineman, one of the many talented offensive linemen in the state of Georgia in this class, out of Evans High School in Augusta, 6'5", 300 pounds. Thought Georgia was the team to beat ever since they offered, and throughout his recruitment, even back in February, I thought that Georgia was the team that could land him, but he is committed to Alabama. But a great kid, another guy with the frame to continue growing, adding more muscle, but looks the part of, this ideal, tackle, especially for his age at just a sophomore, already looks the part. And Alabama, like Georgia, they go after the best of the best. And Mason Short, in my opinion, is one of the best in the state of Georgia. I have him ranked a little higher than the other sites do. That's okay. But I do think he has the potential, even at a place like Alabama, to be a possible multi-year starter. But big fan of his, always have been ever since I saw him a couple of years ago. So I've got to know him and his family a little bit, and I think he's going to have a very good career at Alabama. So he comes in at number 9. Number 10, Antoine Hill Jr., the only quarterback in my top 10 for the state of Georgia. 3,663 yards last year, 40 touchdown passes, just 3 interceptions down at Houston County. The dude can absolutely sling it, got a bunch of offers. Don't think he's going to end up at Georgia. Obviously, they want to take 2 quarterbacks in 24, so it'll be interesting to see where they go in 25, because a lot of these really good quarterbacks aren't going to come in and sit behind 2 guys just a year ahead of him. So, but he does have Georgia offer. His cousin was Trey Hill, former Georgia offensive lineman who went on to play a little bit in the NFL. I'm not sure if he's still in the NFL. But when you put up those type of numbers, and he's a big kid, he's 6'5", close to 200 pounds, good pocket presence, can put some touch on the ball, but he's got a rocket there too. He can zip it into some tight windows. But when you throw 40 touchdowns and 3 interceptions as a sophomore and look good doing it and show that you can make all the throws, I know a lot of people don't have him in the top 10, but for me, as far as quarterbacks go, you have to have that productivity, and I have no problem putting him at number 10. So again, I think half of these guys have 5-star potential. But Georgia's sitting in a really good spot for all these guys, especially the number 1 player in the country, Elijah Griffin out of Savannah. This is someone who might be a top 10 NFL draft pick one day, 3-and-out type of guy, but he's number 1 in the country. And a lot of these guys are some of the best, not only in Georgia, but across the country. So I've said the 2024 class that Georgia is going to sign could be the best class in the country. I still think that, but with all this in-state talent in the 25 class as well, Georgia's just going to keep landing these elite prospects, and a lot of them are from the state of Georgia. I expect them to load up on offensive linemen as much as possible in that 25 class, and should be another good one. But the state of Georgia loaded once again, not only in 24, but 25 and 26. So many young, great players in the state of Georgia. Make sure you're tuned into Dog Post for the latest on all those guys. We got a lot of content that we're pushing out over on the site right now. NFL draft related content, recruiting content. It's a busy time over on Dog Post, so make sure you check it out. Thanks for watching this video. Always appreciate it. Stay tuned to the next video coming up right now, and I'll see you over on Dog Post.